Good evening, boys and girls. Today I'll be comparing fractions to different benchmarks, which benchmarks are like 0, half, and 1. They're set number values on a number line. So I can order my fractions, and I'll know I have it when I can put fractions in order from least to greatest or greatest to least. So I'm putting these fractions in order from least to greatest. What I like to do is, you guys know I'm a fan of number lines. So I like to draw a number line. And I know 0's there, 1's there, and 1/2 goes in the middle. So now I look at each fraction individually. And I want to look, well, 7/8. Is that closer to 0? Is that closer to half? Or is that closer to 1? Well, 7/8, I know that's only one part away from being one whole. So it's going to go right about here. 3/10. Well, 3/10, that's a lot away from being one whole, because I would need 7 more parts to be one whole. And I would need 2 more parts to be in half, so I know 3/10 has to go right about there. Now I know 3/4 is greater than one whole, because with fourths you need 2 parts to be one whole. But I'm not quite sure. I know it's not one whole, so what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to compare the 7/8 and the 3/4 just to see exactly which one it is. So I'll come back to the 3/4. I do know it's going to come somewhere before, but I'm not quite sure if it's right there. And 3/6, I know 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2, so it's right there. So right now, I already know that it's going to be 3/10 and then 3/6. Now I have to figure out if it's 3/4 or 7/8. So 3/4, I need to find the common denominator for 3/4 and 7/8. So 4, 8, well, I can stop there because I already know 8's are in common. So I will take my 3/4 and I'm going to multiply that something to be over 8. 4 times something will give me 8. That's going to be 2 over 2. And that's going to be 6/8. So 3/4 is actually 6/8. So I know 6/8 is smaller than 7/8, so I can finish putting these in order. 3/4 and 6/8 are equivalent. 3/4 comes next, and finally my 7/8. So what I did was I looked at each fraction individually, then I was able to see which ones I needed to put in order, or compare to each other. So this time I want you to put these numbers in order from greatest to least. So pause your video and solve it. Okay, so I have a number line, and I'm looking. I've got 1/2, I've got 0, I've got 1. Well, 1/3, I know half of 3 would be 1/2. So this is somewhere less than half. I'm going to say it's probably about right there. 3/5, I know half of 2, or half of 5 is 2.5. So this is going to be more than half. And, oh, I see the 1 and 1/10. Well, 1 and 1/10, 1 is already past my number line, and it's 1/10, so it's a little bit more than 1, so I know it's actually all the way down here. Then 1/2 is right at the 1/2. Now this thing, I see it's greatest to least. Last time it was least to greatest. So my 1 and 1/10 is my biggest on the number line, so that's my 1 and 1/10. My 3/5 was the next one, then my 1/2, and finally my 1/3. I'm going to put these in boxes so it doesn't look as confusing to me. So that one, I didn't have to compare any because they were all either above 1, between half and 1, right at half, or between 0 and half. At this point, I've only given you 3 fractions here. I want you to put these in order from greatest to least. Make sure you have a number line so I can see your work. And this is what I'll be checking, and I'll see you in the morning.